sublime beauty, do you not agree, Doctor?
What's up, residents? Alistair here. How smart really is Godzilla? We've seen him range from a lumbering, dumb whale unintentionally crashing through buildings, to recognizing humans, to even shaking hands with giant robots. Today we're going to break down how intelligent this titan really is by analyzing his problem-solving, critical thinking, emotional intelligence, and more, to come to a conclusion on whether he is really the king of the monsters when it comes to brains. Right, let's not waste any more time, let's get to it! So this video can be more focused to come to a direct answer to the title's question. We're going to look at MonsterVerse Godzilla, since it's the most recent iteration of the character seen on the big screen. Featuring in Godzilla 2014, Godzilla King of the Monsters in 2019, and Godzilla vs. Kong from 2021, this titan has demonstrated a wide range of cognitive abilities. And to analyze his intelligence, we're going to rate each aspect out of 10, with 10 being the highest and 1 being the lowest. First off, let's look into Godzilla's emotional intelligence, pinpointing whether or not this creature acts based on emotions or simply instinct. We get our first glimpse at Godzilla's emotional intelligence in 2014, when Godzilla was weakened during the Muto's attack. He was crushed by a skyscraper and met eyes with Ford Brody, who were both in the midst of an impossible task. It humanizes Godzilla as we see the look of desperation and exhaustion in his eyes. We also see emotional responses from Godzilla in Godzilla vs. Kong, where we see him overjoyed by the sight of Kong in pain, shortly after blasting him with his atomic breath, showcasing that he actually gets pleasure from intentional actions. This tells us Godzilla indeed acts based on emotion, and even does things based on pleasure and self-fulfillment. But since there's still an inkling of instinctual behavior, sometimes letting it take precedent over his emotions, we're going to give Godzilla a 7 out of 10 on emotional intelligence. Following this, we have memory. Godzilla appears to have extremely capable short and long-term memory retention, which is demonstrated when he witnesses Ghidorah rise out of his Arctic prison. The look of anger on his face tells us that whatever battle happened between them thousands of years ago is still fresh on his mind. But even in the short term, we witness Godzilla recognize Mark Russell, the scientist who ordered Castle Bravo to disarm their weapons that threatened to hurt Godzilla. Later, when Serizawa nuked Godzilla to save his life, Godzilla recognized Mark's face and instantly connected the dots that if he's present, it means they're here to help. So we have documented both excellent long and short-term memory for the King of the Monsters. So for that reason, we're going to give him a full-blown 10. But what about problem solving? How does Godzilla compare to other animals in this regard? The definition of problem solving is the act of defining a problem, determining the cause of the problem, identifying, prioritizing, and selecting alternatives for a solution, and implementing a solution. In this case, Godzilla isn't so good at understanding the cause of issues, neither is he a master of searching for alternate ways to complete a task. Godzilla has a one-track mind, and when he finds a problem, the answer is usually to destroy whatever's causing the problem, even if it leads to the deaths of countless lives. When Apex was building Mechagodzilla in Godzilla vs. Kong, Godzilla could sense that a new titan, controlled by Ghidorah, would upset the natural order and only cause more destruction. What could be done to solve this problem? Well, go from factory to factory, destroying its mechanical parts, of course. This is the prime difference from something like a Homo sapien that have excellent problem-solving abilities, which are even represented in Godzilla vs. Kong, where we see Team Godzilla attempt to shut down Mechagodzilla in various ways, compared to Godzilla, which can't really solve the problem in more ways than one. But that's just the way he rolls, so for that reason, we're going to give Godzilla a problem-solving skill of 4. Now on to self-preservation. Self-preservation means a natural or instinctive tendency to preserve one's own existence. Godzilla has excellent self-preservation skills, which we witness in King of the Monsters, where even he knew when to retreat. Retreating allowed Godzilla to regain his strength to fight another day. This not only demonstrates that he has instinctual self-preservation skills, but that he understands the connection between retreating to his own home and how that will affect his energy levels. This is a sign that he is an incredible survivor, although oftentimes his courage gets in the way of his self-preservation, often fighting impossible odds, so for that reason, we're going to give him a self-preservation skill of 8. Motor control and tool usage. Many creatures in the animal kingdom demonstrate the ability to use tools, but in this regard, Godzilla has trouble understanding how to use certain objects. He's evolved primitive thumbs, although when faced with items built for animals with thumbs, he becomes blindsighted. When Kong's axe was jammed into Godzilla's leg, instead of pulling it out with his hands and using it against him, he instead used his jaw to grab it and throw it far away at the tallest building, so that Kong wouldn't be able to immediately pick it up again. When it comes to attacks, Godzilla doesn't really punch like humans or even Kong. Instead, he swipes and grabs similar to Komodo dragons or bears, using his weight to push and pull at his enemies. For having highly developed hands, it does seem Godzilla doesn't quite know how to use them. He's also very slow to react to attacks, with Mechagodzilla's AI easily outpacing him, meaning Godzilla has pretty poor motor controls. This does work for his advantage in most cases, essentially being a walking nuclear reactor tank, but that means he's sacrificed some of that motor functionality for bulk and strength. So for that reason, we're going to give him a 3 on motor control and tool usage. Critical thinking. The definition of critical thinking is the objective analysis and evaluation of an issue in order to form a judgment. And whilst this may sound similar to problem solving, they are indeed different. You can be a critical thinker, but not a problem solver. Godzilla has demonstrated critical thinking when it comes to a variety of his fights against other monsters, such as figuring out that the Muto's exoskeleton is proficient against his atomic breath, leading to his next move involving Godzilla giving the Muto a kiss of death, breathing his atomic fire into his soft fleshy insides, much more vulnerable to the elements. In Godzilla's fight with Ghidorah, we also see him use his atomic breath against their heads in order to destroy their brains. But Ghidorah is far too nimble, and his heads were indeed able to dodge the attack. But later on in the film, Godzilla targets purely at Ghidorah's chest, which is much more useful during combat, since Ghidorah has a significantly harder time dodging those attacks. In Godzilla vs. Kong, we see Godzilla attempt to drown Kong since he recognizes that mammals like apes can't breathe underwater, giving him a significant advantage in his domain. But critical thinking comes in handy not just in fights, but in other areas of his existence too, such as the moment when Godzilla understood humanity isn't there to hurt him, but rather help him kill Ghidorah. He decides to fully allow them to fight alongside him. Critical thinking are a natural part of his life, since he has to recognize what is and isn't part of the natural order and assess whether certain changes to the planet are a threat to its future. Ghidorah was not from this world and wanted to terraform it, so Godzilla knew he had to exterminate it. Kong is an incredibly smart primate and threatened Godzilla's reign, a reign he was comfortable having. He knew the world needed him to protect it, so their rivalry blossomed. Godzilla has proficient critical thinking, and it's a highly necessary characteristic to have in his role as the king of the monsters. Although he's not quite as smart as Kong in this regard, and oftentimes still resorts to violence to solve his problems. So for that reason, we're going to give him a 6 out of 10. Godzilla has a wide capacity to think and feel and assess situations, but he has his downfalls, not being able to quite figure out basic tasks like how to hold a tool. If we calculate a median of all these results, we get to a final answer to how intelligent Godzilla really is. So let's add up each result. Godzilla has an emotional intelligence of 7, memory of 10, problem solving at 4, self-preservation of 8, motor control and tool usage of 3, and finally critical thinking at 6. if we calculate these together and find the median, we come to an intelligence level of 6.5 out of 10. By far the smartest reptile on the planet, just not the most intelligent being on the planet. But he didn't need to be. He's exactly as smart as he needs to be to rule as the king of the monsters. Now, what about the other monsters? Well, if you'd like us to assess other titans to compare their intelligence, like this video because it helps us know what you want to see more of. Make sure to let us know in the comment section down below what titan you'd like to see explored next. Don't forget to subscribe and stomp that notification button to become a resident of DangerVille today. I've been Alistair, and we'll see you residents in the next one.